we did a recent poll on our Instagram account of questions that you might have about homeschooling. I know for me, it's something I get very often being a homeschool mom. People will slide into my DM and ask me questions if I post an Insta story about homeschooling or whatever. So we just thought this would be a great platform to kind of answer all of the questions that we've gotten from this poll that we've had in the past asked to us. First, we're going to start with one that we're all going to answer, and that would be your top 3 reasons why you homeschool your kids.
The number one reason is I believe that this is the path God has for me and my children.
Yeah.
I think that's really important. I wanted to homeschool before I even got pregnant. Just that person. Number 2, I am very protective. Call me a helicopter mom if you want, of my children, who they're around, who they're friends with, who's the influence, and just didn't really want to go that route.
Yeah.
And Christian school is very expensive.
Yeah.
So that was my second reason. My third reason is I really, truly enjoy it. And I really love watching my son read or watching him learn something and knowing I played a part in that. So it is really, truly, for me personally, rewarding. So those are my reasons.
Yeah. My top 3 would have to be I, as well as my husband and I, like, we weren't even married, and we were like, we're going to homeschool our kids one day. Like, it was just, there was never a question for us. It was what God had for our family before we even had a family, before we even thought about a family. That was just our thing. 2 would be traveling and experiencing the world instead of being stuck in a classroom. I just think that that's such a fun way to learn.
Yeah.
Right.
But my third would have to be just that we felt, I guess I would go along with what you said, like protecting them, protecting their innocence longer, and knowing that I think a big thing for us has always been instilling self-confidence in our children, in who they are in Christ before the world gets to them. We know the world's going to get to them.
Right.
We know we are not, all 4 of us here, like, we know that life is going to happen to our children. But where is their foundation? How secure in their foundation are they before they face that? That for us is big.
Yeah.
Right.
I didn't really ever think I would homeschool. I went into it thinking, you know, I actually took London to a kindergarten, like a look and see at a really nice Christian school. And I just did a great school. I just didn't have a settled feeling about it. And so through a lot of prayer with my husband and I, God clearly directed us to homeschool.
Yeah.
And that's number 1 why I do it, because I know this is what God has for me and my kids. And then stemming from that, number 2, I really learned to love it.
Yeah.
There are some challenging days, but I really at the end of the day love it. And number 3, kind of going off what you said, I wanted to be able to teach my children what they need to know from me.
Yeah.
Important life things, not whatever. I want to be the one to share with them. I wanted to be the one to teach them. And honestly, I still keep an open mind about homeschool versus regular school. We always pray about it at the beginning of each year. But as of right now, when you have a clear go from God, that's what you do. So I'm in it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Top reasons, I would say, I think we have had a very positive experience in elementary school up to this point, up to 3rd, 4th grade, but it's not going to always be that way. And for the same reason that you guys all mentioned, is I want to protect my kids. It is my job. It is our job as their parents to keep them from the ugly. But top three reasons, that would be the first, to just protect my kids. The flexibility, you can't beat it. You can do school whenever, however, wherever you want. And the third would be the experience, traveling, and that kind of goes along with flexibility. But you have the flexibility,
The freedom
to travel, and that's what we hope to do eventually when we have everybody home.
What does your extra activities look like? Like, example, a field trip or something like that.
We do a lot of park days. We're at the park a lot. We have one right behind the house. So I try to keep my kids really active. I mean, they're outside kids anyway. We try to keep them really active. They're always with their cousins all the time. We do the zoo. We do the aquarium. We visit daddy at work. We go, we'll just do random things, but like educational things too.
Yeah.
The Hers factory and learn about how to make potato chips. I don't know. I try to keep it fun.
Yeah.
Nothing crazy over their heads, but keeping them active.
Yeah. How do you face disagreement toward homeschooling?
Yeah, you need to be confident and
Yeah.
secure in your choice. And the biggest pushback that I've got, we'll take it from Christian versus non-Christian.
Yeah.
The Christians that I have encountered that have been negative have said, well, you have to send them out to be lights. We need lights. My pushback on that is my children are not old enough to burn by themselves.
Yes, amen.
I put them in an environment where a teacher's going to say, no, that's not right. This is how they're going to we've taught them to comply with authority. So they're going to be very confused. From the non-Christian perspective, personally speaking, the pushback has been, well, how you're not a teacher, you're not qualified. But I love that God doesn't choose and call. You don't have to be qualified in anything. Not for receiving spiritual gifts, he chose me to teach them. And honestly, reading was the hardest thing. There were many times where I had to get up and be like, okay. But it is so rewarding for me to be able to continue to do it. And so again, I smile. I'm like, we love it. And don't open yourself up to say, well, what do you think? Well, why? Because the second you open that door to say, well, why? Or what do you think? That's when people like to get a foot in.
Will you give thought to your children later in life entering into traditional school?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I feel like that's not out of the question. I feel like that is a kid by kid basis, not just for me. I think that should be, if you are on the fence. I mean, there are some of us who have decided like, no, we're homeschooling our kids through high school. But for those that are on the fence or are taking it, year by year, that's not out of the question. But I think, again, going back to the foundation, your kid. Can they handle it?
Yeah.
And that is, I think for me, that would be, if I were to consider it, or if I were to have a child later in life that would question or challenge that, I would 100% have to look at their personality and whether or not they can handle themselves in a secular world. Because if they can't, then there is not a chance I will send them out.
Yeah. Do you come up with your own curriculum? No.
Nope.
That's a really
Never
easy
will.
answer.
No.
Yeah, I'm not quite the creative person at all. So for me, what works best is buying my curriculum at the beginning of the year and going through it. Yeah, but
And for those of you who have never done it, the curriculums tell you what to do.
Yeah.
Going
Yeah.
literally what
Yeah.
you said, you don't have to know how to teach.
Nope.
It tells you what to say
Yep.
to your kid, what to read, what
Yep.
pages,
What day on what week. You
questions
just
to
cross
ask.
it off. Right.
So if you are wondering, could I teach? Yes, you could. If you can read, you can teach.
Yeah.
them.
It's true.
Because
It's true.
That's all you do is you follow what they tell you to do.
Absolutely. I'm going to just jump to you, Anne. So kind of along the same lines, homemaking, you're cooking, you're cleaning while you're doing school, because we are also homemakers. We're at home all day. So we're not only schooling the kids, but we have dinners and lunches and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I would say I would compare it to becoming a mom. You kind of just figure it out as you go
That's good.
along. You will get into a routine. It takes some time. If you're new to it, give yourself time, because there's no right or wrong way. You'll find what works and you'll find your balance. But once you find that balance, once you find what works for you, then everything else kind of falls into place. You'll find your time. You'll have a chunk of time here to get something done, and you'll have a chunk of time there to get something done, or you'll be done by lunchtime and you have your afternoons to kind of manage the rest of your house. So once you get into a routine, the rest just kind of falls into place.
My family, I incorporate Zay in with our school. I'll save some things for him. Hey, can you help? Can you help me with this? I try my best. Obviously, things can get stressful, but I try my best that when my husband comes through the door, I don't put my stress of the day on him. I keep your marriage healthy. It doesn't have to. Stress is an option you choose to apply. So I just it's not separate.
Yeah.
Isaiah is in on some of the things we do. On his days off is when we'll do like a lot of the activities.
Yeah.
So he kind of keeps involved and
I do tend to usually get school done in the morning. That's how I work best but honestly, that's the beauty of homeschooling. You don't have to have a schedule.
Right.
Every day can look different.
Right.
So some days I wait. It's been a rough day. The kids are annoying. I wait until Kay gets home, till my husband gets home, and I do school after dinner with
Right, yeah.
Jameson. And
Whatever works.
he's entertaining the other two, or he's helping with math, or with. Do you notice a math theme in the house? But he's helping with a subject or whatever. It's just you kind of can do whatever you want, which is awesome.
And there are days where even with the curriculum, my laundry's on the couch for several days and it hasn't been folded. But I've gotten used to that's the
New norm.
new normal
Yeah.
for homeschool. And I've kind of you have to give yourself some slack because it's
can't do
not
it all.
you can't do it all. Yeah.
As you think about structure or what it's going to look like, it's really not
Not
a
bad.
lot.
Yeah. No, it's
It's
not.
really not a lot. And there
Yeah.
are so many options out there. And just why I'm thinking about it, talk to people.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to people that have been in I spent, honestly, before I jumped in with my daughter, I spent a year or more talking to people
Yep.
who have been there, done that.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
just wanted to throw that out there because there's so many
Yeah.
there's so many options, it will overwhelm you.
Right.
So if you talk to people and they tell you what to do and what they liked, it's so much easier and it takes the pressure off because there's just too much to look at.
And don't be afraid to do things differently than other people
Totally.
too.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to jump into something and halfway through the year be like, I hate this.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're going to do it a different way. It's like we have the freedom to do that.
Yep.
And let me preface this whole thing. The four of us are in no way, shape, or form saying that putting your children in school is bad
100%,
or wrong
right.
or any of that. Honestly, we really don't care.
No.
If you if you
We just
want
don't want
to
you to care what we do.
No,
either.
if you want to put your children in school and that is what God has for you, do it.
Yep.
And if you want to homeschool, do it. And if you want to do what Ann does and do half and half, do it.
Yeah.
These are our experiences,
Yes.
and we are
Right.
answering just
I'm glad you
personally
said
how
that.
it works
Yes.
for
Yeah,
us.
that's really good, Britt.
Everything we say, we're just confident in what we're doing, and but don't take that as you are
You have to
wrong
do this.
If
Right.
you were
Right.
doing something different than us, you just do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you do it your way,
Yeah.
and your kids will thrive.
Yeah.
I'm telling
And
you.
I want to jump off of that because something that whoever's listening, quarantine schooling is not homeschooling.
Nope.
I'm
Yep.
doing it both ways.
Yeah.
I've done it both ways. I started out homeschooling my daughter and then whoop, 24 hours later I was homeschooling 4 kids. And it is 100% different. So
the
same.
I just wanted to make that very clear that
Yeah.
this work that they are being, if you know, everyone was homeschooling or was homeschooling at one point, it is not the same.
No.
Yeah.
You are being told what to do. You are trying to work these apps that aren't working.
Yeah.
And you not the same.
Right.
So if you've done this and it seemed like a terrible idea, it is totally different than what
Yeah.
the public schools have
That's
put
good.
on you
Right.
in this quarantine time.
Yep.
So let me just make that very clear.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Last question, Lauren. What do you do with your non-school age kids, aka Ricky?
With that little boy, he's at a great age where I can give him a shell or a snack. I actually have started setting something up. I have my dining room table, and then I'll set him up right next to me with blocks or
That's good.
magnets or something that
Yeah.
I can keep an eye on him to keep him entertained. And I found that right now it works.
And
Nap
sometimes
time's
you
always
hold
a
him all
great
day.
time, and
Nap time's a
sometimes
great
I hold him.
time.
Nap time's a great time to get it done. Sometimes I hold him. Sometimes he eats 5 granola bars back to back, and that's okay in our house for homeschooling. Whatever it takes. My motto is whatever it takes.
That's good.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for your participation. We really appreciate it because you filled up a whole show. So anyway, just remember, you're part of this sisterhood. You got this, and we got your back.